Dear friends, I'd like to welcome you to episode 3 of Data Science Live. I'm Mr. Campanell, and I'm here to do a little bit of live coding with the R programming language. Enjoy some mukbang. Today we have Japanese hambagu, Japanese hamburger. It looks delicious. I can't wait to try it. And hopefully for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, provide a little bit of companionship. So, I've already got my tie loosened. I'm ready to go. So let's get started coding. So today we're going to be doing the select function out of dplyr. The select function is really a sibling to the filter function that we demonstrated in episode 1. Select allows you to subset on different columns, and if you recall in episode 1 we subsetted on rows with the filter function, so that's why I can consider them sibling functions out of dplyr. The data set that we're going to work on today is from the OECD, and it is about fertility rates from 1970 through 2010. We have a good amount of columns in there. Let me just pull it up. I can show you. Let me get my mouse over here where I can see my mouse. Come on over here to my screen. There you go. So this is the data set that we're going to be working with today. We've got these columns over here that we're going to be selecting on and subsetting to create some smaller data sets. I'm just going to show you some examples of some of the helper functions that select has here. So it's a really nice. So it's time to do some coding. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull up our libraries that we're going to use today. So I'm going to use dplyr, of course. Okay, and I'm going to use read Excel. And this is to read in an Excel file. This data set that I showed you, although it's online, I have downloaded it already, and we're going to read it as an Excel file. So the Excel files can present challenges, and the best thing about this select function is that if you're giving a file that's in Excel, it's got multiple columns. It was created by someone who did it in their own quirky little funky way, and now it's your responsibility to take that data, build it into some analysis data frames, and make some sense of it. So that's kind of the best reason, one of the best reasons to use the select function on Excel files. So I'm going to just bring these libraries in right here. Okay, so we got our libraries. So the first thing that I'm going to do with this file is we got to read it in. So let's read data. Okay, I'll put my little comment here about what we're going to do. So I'm going to call this OECD, and we're going to do read X. Is that what we're going to do? Read? No, we're going to read XLS. Okay, and I'm going to put my file name in here, and that is. Let's see. I've got that here. Let me just pull that up. It's this one right here. So let's just OECDS. It's in downloads. So we're going to go to, let's see, C, right? C, what do we got here? Users, loads, OECD.xls. Okay, oh, I have to put quotes on these. Yeah, that's right. see the nice thing about live? You get to see the coding done in its raw form here. And now I'm going to add a couple of commands down here that I'll explain a little bit later. But NA equals ... Okay, so missing values in these columns, if you look at this thing, they put 2 dots for missing values. So we want to be able to handle these missing values in this data set. And I'm going to put skip equals 3 because we want to remove these, put this up here again, these 2 lines here that are in the file that put titles in here. This is typical of a lot of Excel files that you work with that are reports. So you want to remove kind of the header titles in there so you can get straight to the data. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's see if we can run this command and see if it works. Yeah, okay. And then we see a thing down here, new names. I just want to pull this up. We're going to take a look at it in our viewer. Oh, this is kind of unusual. I've got, and this is what Read Excel will do. I've got a column name of ... 2 when it really is the OECD countries. So I want to rename this thing. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a kind of a base R command to do the renaming. I'm just going to say names. I think OECD, and we're going to reference the second column, and we're going to call this country. So let's run this. And looks like it ran okay. Let's just kind of pull up the data set again. Oh, let's just click it down. Yeah, so I see right here it actually has renamed it to country. The one thing is that in the tidyverse there is a function in dplyr to rename your columns. In this case, it's not going to work too well because the dots, and also in the tidyverse, the dots mean something in there, and you're going to get some errors. I think RStudio is still kind of working on that to fix that. So that's why I used this base R command. So now that we've got our data set, let's start to work on some of the select functions. And let's just do kind of, I'm going to call this just your basic select. Okay, and I'm just going to call this, what are we going to call this? Let's call this basic. Basic select, right? Select. And we're going to use our OECD data source. I'm going to use my pipe here, and I'm going to use a select statement. Here is what's the talk for today, and we're going to do country. Okay, and then 1970. Okay, we're just going to tab that over. I like how it puts these back quotes in here because in our columns need to start with a letter, not a number. Okay, and I'm going to do 1980. Okay, oh, come on. Yeah, let me tab that through so I don't have to type in those back spaces. And let's do, what other columns do we have in here? I'm just going to take a look, scroll down, 1970, let's do 2000, and how about 2002? Yeah, okay. I accidentally tabbed that one over. I don't want to leave it down there. I think I just want to keep it here. So let's run this. You can see me struggle with my typing here. Basic select, 44 observations, and 5 variables. So 1970, 1980, 2000, 2002. Great. So You can put in all the column names of your select statement, and it will just reduce the data frame to the ones that you have in your select statement. But there are some other helper functions that are really kind of nice in select, and we're going to take a look at some of them. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to do our ends with. And I'm just going to do ends with, no, we'll just call this, I want to do the decades. So I just want to take a look at the decades. We'll call it decades, right, OECD. We're going to pipe this thing here. Okay. And we're going to say select, and we're going to say ends with, yep. And for this, for the decades, I want everything that ends in a 0, right? That's going to be all your decade years, your beginning of the years. So let's give this a try. See what we got here. I got a decades data set. I also have 5 variables. Let's just kind of open this up and take a look at it. Okay, 1970, 1980, 1990, 2000, and 2010. So everything that ends in a 0 in this data set, I've been able to select these columns here. So pretty good, pretty good. So let's try another helper function, and I'm going to call this one, which one are we going to take a look at? We're going to do this, if we did ends with, let's do starts with. And what do I want to start with? Let's do things from the last century. Okay, so we'll call this last cent. And we're going to go select and starts with. Okay, and how about we just put 19 in here? So we should have 1970, 1980, 1990 in our data set. And okay, maybe I want to add the country. Let's do country too. Okay, so our country is going to be the first column in this new data frame, and then we'll have the 1900 years in here. That's the idea. Let's see if this idea actually works. Okay, it ran okay. 4 variables, so let's take a look at it. Okay, the first column is country because I put that in the select statement first, and then we go with all the ones with 19 in our data set. So 1970, 80, 1990. Okay, works as expected. Good job, Mr. Campanelle. Good job. Okay, let's do our next one. Let's try something that contains. We'll do our contains helper function. Okay, and we'll do the naughties. How about the naughties here? Okay, OECD. I'm going to filter this here a little bit more. And select. Yeah, I want to put the country in again too, because we really need it for this data set. And I'm going to try contains. Let's do the naughties. Okay. It contains, and I think this is what, 2.0? Yeah, 2.0. And we'll run this one. Okay, let's take a look at the naughties. We got 11 columns in here. So we got countries. So from 2000, I guess we didn't have data in 2001. From 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, everything that starts with 20 is in this data frame. Pretty good, pretty good. So the last one I want to do here is using the NumRange Helper function, and that is where you can put a prefix in of what the columns, the prefix of the first few letters or so of the column name, and then give me the following numbers after that. So I'm going to just code it instead of explaining it here. So NumRange is what we're going to do. So what do we call this? So I'll just call this select range. Okay, CD. Right. I do like my pipes. I like write my tidy code nice and neat so you can read it. And let's go select country, and then we're going to do what are we going to do here? We're going to do NumRange. Okay, and we're going to say prefix equals, what are we going to say? 200. Okay, and then I'm going to say range equals, and I'm going to do 1 through 6. So anything that has 200 in it, as in the column names, and anything following it will have the numbers 1 through 6 in there. Let's just give this a try and see what we got. So select range, 44 observations, 6 variables, includes country, and I said 1 through 6. So what's going on here? Okay. What's going on here? Of course, if you remember the last one, we didn't have year 2001. So 2001 got omitted in here, and we're just picking up 2002, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So even though I said 1, there wasn't a 1 after the prefix 200, and it didn't get included into the data set. Okay, makes sense, makes sense. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Let me just kind of scroll this down here a little bit more, my window. Maybe I'll just put it down so you can see all the code here, because now it's time for mukbang. And like I said, I got Japanese hamburger here, and I want to kind of show it to you. I still have it. Let's see what we have here. Oh, let me look in the window here, right? I've got it covered so I don't have this sauce spill out over on my keyboard here. But it's let's see if I can get a better view on this. Maybe point the camera down here. If I can do that, that might work too. So let's see here. Oh! I can't point the camera when my camera doesn't work right now. So that's not a good thing. Didn't this happen before in episode 1? I think it did. So it's time just to fix the camera here, and I'll give that another try. Okay, let's turn this on. Okay, let me put this in here and see if we can try this again. Okay, we'll try this again and see what happens. There we go. I'm back. Yeah, when I have to play with that camera, sometimes it's not going to work. There we go. We can see it a little bit better. Can that? There we go. There we go. That is the mukbang. Okay. I'm going to eat this. And while I eat this, you got time to practice on all these select functions that I did and all the helper functions. You can try to pull down the data set. Let me just see if I got the URL here, and I'm going to put it into the chat window for you to give it a try. Okay, copy that. I'm just going to put this in the chat window. See if you can download the data in Excel format, pull it in, Or maybe if you want to try something that I did in episode 1, where I use the URL, give that a try and work on the data, try these functions. You might even want to use your own data set if you want. Give it a try. I'm going to eat for a little bit, maybe 5 minutes or here, so for you to practice, and then we'll come back with the recap. I love Western style Japanese food. It's delicious. A little bit of rice here. So this sauce it's kind of a interesting sauce. It's Japanese Worcestershire sauce. It's different than the British one. It's sweeter and it's fruitier. And then you mix this sauce in with some ketchup. And what else? I put a little bit of red wine in here. You cook it up after you cook the burgers and pour it on these hambagu. Yes. Second episode where I've had the hiccups while I was doing the mukbang segment. Second episode. Kind of strange how that happens, isn't it? Your camera doesn't work. Your camera cuts out on you. You get the hiccups while you're eating live on stream. That's just the way. That's just the way live streaming goes. So I hope you're all you've had a chance to practice this, and so we're going to go for a little bit of a recap right now, and talk about the select function. So first thing we did, we brought in our data set that is an Excel file. The data set is formatted with titles in it, and you want to get those titles out before you read them. So you're using the skip equals 3 because that's where our data is starting at in the third row. It has unusual characters for missing dot dot. So those have to get eliminated as well, and so we use the NA equals in this option. It came in with a really strange name. If we can see it again here, it uses these dot dot dots and a number. So I wanted to really give the name for country something that I can understand. So I renamed it country using the names in base R and assigned it to the new name. And then we went through our select statements and all the different helper functions. So the first one is just your basic select, where you just type in the names of the columns that you want and it'll pull those out for you. You could also do column numbers, but if you have to have somebody maintain your code after you leave the place of work, they're going to really hate you because you don't want to be mapping column numbers onto data sets. It's just so hard to read. So keep the names in there. It's a little bit of typing, but it'll be kind. Okay, makes you be a kind person. And then we started to use some of the helper functions. The ends with is it ends with a character in your column name. You can use that. The starts with is a prefix that you want to start with for the different characters. Lots of times you might see things like x1, x2, x3, x4, x5. So maybe you just want to start with x because as this huge monster spreadsheet has, it'll have xx1 and xx2, and so maybe you just want that in there. Excel monster spreadsheets. You're going to have to deal with them, right? I've dealt with them, and I don't like them, but that's nice having these select functions. That's why. The contains is it will take any sets of characters in those column names and select them out for you to get a smaller data set. This one we just used the 2 zeros. I could have used 06 and just pulled out 2006 if I wanted to. That would have worked. And then the number range, where you can put a prefix in there and just tell it the different numbers that are in the column names that you want to pull out and give it a range of what they are. So that is it for episode 3 of Data Science Live. I hope you learned a little bit here. I will post the blog on datasciencelive.com with all my code and text explanations of what I was actually doing here. So it'll give you a chance to copy and paste, keep practicing. You know, this is how I learned with the copy and paste practice. You can do it too, as long as you keep up with it. I'd like to ask you to please subscribe to my channel and follow me and turn on notifications so that when I do go live, you'll be able to notice that. So, finally, I appreciate your companionship with me here today on Data Science Live. Until the next cast, goodbye for now, dear friends. Bye.